Hello, everyone. My name is Drew Robertson, and I'm a junior fellow with the Signature Programs Office this summer. And this is LOC Unbound, Books Bring Us Together. And I'm so excited to be interviewing the director of the Signature Programs Office and my boss, Jarrod MacNeil, today.
Hey, Drew. Thanks for having
Hi.
me.
Of course. So before we jump into our questions, this video series is by Cesar Reyes and I. Cesar, you will see in other videos, so please go check those out. But we are aiming to highlight the 2022 National Book Festival theme, which is, as we know, books bring us together. And we hope that our series allows us to shed light on individuals across the library and emphasize the power of storytelling, literature, and books have in forging connections between us all. So with that, Jarrod, the first question is a simple one, but also a really complicated one, because I know I would have lots of answers to it. But can you tell me about a time when a story or a book brought you closer to someone?
Oh, probably so many times in the course of my life. I will say in recent history, I have two young children. I have 3-year-olds, and bringing them the joy of reading has been something that has been extremely rewarding for me. So whether it's bedtime, whether it's time to hang out, having the opportunity to have the young person's excitement when it comes to storytelling has been amazing. So we have story time in our household, and it's definitely something that brings the family together. So
Yeah, that's awesome. They're almost 4, right? Like
yes, they're
close.
going to
Oh
be
my
turning
goodness.
4.
Wow, that's crazy. What's their favorite story for you to read them?
Oh, I think it depends. We are into the blue truck, little blue truck right now.
Okay.
So and his best friend Toad. But whether it's Marvel, whether it's superheroes, whether it's PJ Masks or
Oh,
Paw Patrol, or it depends on the night and the mood and what they're into at the time. But we also have the classics like Dr. Seuss,
absolutely.
and I've even, as they were younger, read books without pictures so they could just listen. And now they're doing the reading and they're getting excited into the picture books and so forth. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I think to see them, I mean, developing and getting that love for literature. And it makes me think, what was your relationship to books and stories like growing up throughout your
Oh,
life, honestly?
I've always been a reader. I'm somewhat of a dork, so I've always been into sci-fi and fantasy, and but I also think that as I've grown professionally, reading books that help me in my career is really important as well. And maybe some lifestyle or self-reflection books have become more in my repertoire, because you always got to be improving and trying to do things better. So whether that is your personal finances or whether that is being more mindfulness and learning to take breaks, so yeah, reading has always been a part of my life and my family's life. So
Yeah, I do find as I get older, and I say that as still in my undergrad, but even like I'm more drawn to like not like self-help books, but books that are like talk to me about my life. And I find myself enjoying them. And I think that when I was like in middle school and high school, I was like never, like I would hate those, but they're kind of fun to
yep.
learn. Yeah, it's definitely fun. But I how did that relationship you had with books and literature, throughout your life, how has that affected your perspective of your community and the world?
Well, I think being an informed individual gives me my personal opinions, and my personal voice has a little bit more weight. I think that it's it's always interesting for someone to be so impassioned about something but never look at alternative views or do research and discover to kind of give themselves a little bit more understanding of a topic, or a position, or even politics. So I think reading for myself, and whether that is articles or just the normal news, I think makes me feel like I have a better perspective, but also gives me the tools that I need to have discussions or to advocate for individuals who can't, or whatever it may be. So I continue to read. I try to stay informed. I will say my personal pleasure reading hasn't been as strong as it has in earlier times of my life because of the young children, but I'm sure I'll get back to it.
Yeah, I imagine it's difficult. You're definitely a connoisseur of children's books right now, though.
Yes.
So it's a good asset to have. It's probably a little different, though.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that perspective and having an informed opinion, but also being able to open your eyes to different perspectives is incredibly important. And I think it ties in a lot with the theme for the National Book Festival this year. Books bring us together and allowing us to understand each other on different levels because of what books give us that other forms of information don't. And I honestly, we're going to shift a little bit, but I just want to know, how do you choose the theme for the National Book Festival?
Well, luckily, I mean, this past year we have a new literary director, and it really comes down to kind of what the theme, or what's happening in the world, what's happening in a collaboration. And let's be honest, we've been struggling as a globe for the past 2 years when it comes to the pandemic, and we are now coming back to be together. We're going the first time, for us in 2 years to be able to have an event of this nature because of the pandemic. So our new literary director came on, and we kind of thinking about what the festival has around it, what is new for this year that maybe hadn't been in past, and kind of built out the repertoire to say, well, guess what? We're bringing people together again, and it's not just this one event, but it really is books in general that bring us together. So it's very exciting. It's daunting in its own way, but we're excited that we are getting, literacy advocates as well as pleasure readers and families, and back into the convention center in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's T minus 30 something days until this year's festival. And you obviously play a large role in, all of this coming together. And what is that like from your perspective? Not as just someone who's going to visit the festival and see it all on the day of, but what's your perspective of it, throughout the year? Can you talk to me just about that?
Yeah, well, I have the benefit of working with some very amazing people. And even as the director of the festival, I am a participant in the sense that I rely on the expertise of those people around me, whether they are website designers or communications experts, or literary gurus, or professional teachers. Hundreds of people come together from the Library of Congress to produce this this amazing event. And throughout the year, it's meetings, it's phone calls, it's emails, it's gathering of information, and asking, soliciting individuals for their expert opinions. But throughout the year, I would say the neatest thing is that so many people put their own little touch and twist on so many different parts that it is a huge collaboration. Everybody has a piece of the festival, as they're helping to create it throughout the year. And in T minus 30 some odd days, we will have it come to fruition, and individuals will get to see that hard work pay off, hopefully.
Yeah, I know I, for one, am incredibly excited to be able to go this year. What's your favorite part of the festival on the day of?
For me, it's probably at like 5:45 in the morning, after I've walked all the spaces and nobody's there except for me. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's calm, quiet, and cool. And then 3 hours later, it is exploded with energy and excitement. I think there's so many different parts of the festival that are just amazing. But yeah, my personal point is like, well, everything's going to happen. The train is left the station. We're moving. There's nothing I can do at this point that's going to change a lot. So yeah, it's kind of that calm before the storm. That's my favorite part of the day.
Yeah, before everything descends upon you and you are in the
Yes.
fray of the festival.
Yes.
If
Putting
you
out
haven't,
fires, answering radios, doing text messages, running, finding lost children. And
yes.
yes, but
And then you
that little
blink your
moment.
eyes and it's over.
Yep.
I'm
And you're
sure.
like, I spent a year creating this
Yeah,
and collaborating with my colleagues to make this happen. And then it's over.
that's crazy. And I want to ask too, I've never been to the book festival before. And honestly didn't know a ton about it until coming on this position into the summer. But I'll be there this year. I'll be working. But I wanted to say for anybody who's coming for the first time to the festival, what's your favorite thing to recommend to them to do?
Oh, I would say
It's a hard question. I
best
know.
thing it is, I would say, I mean, experience it. I don't necessarily stick to what you think you'll like. Be open to the experience that is happening around you. So just because you're a history and biography buff doesn't mean that that is the one thing, then the only thing that you're going to enjoy. Like I would say, let the event happen around you, but also participate in things that you don't think that you would normally set out to do when arriving to the festival. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I think that the theme this year is very conducive to that, right? Books bring us together. And what other place are you going to have people who love YA or history or comic books, graphic novels, or
Yes.
biographies, autobiographies all come together and have that common ground, because obviously we all love books, but we all love different aspects of books, I think,
Yes.
and read for different reasons. So yeah, that's awesome. Definitely experience it. And the festival this year is going into its 22nd year, I believe, and with no plans to stop ever in the future.
Yes.
um, so why do you think it's important for the National Book Festival to continue?
Well, I know that the event got started with the First Lady Laura Bush and the then Librarian of Congress James H. Billington, and it was because the nation did not have a celebration of reading. And I think it's continued because reading is multi-generational. It is non-discriminatory in the sense that it's for everyone, and whether that's talking books or traditional books, whether they're picture books, or whether you're an 80-year-old man who loves to read YA, or whether you're a 3-year-old who's just discovering that the words tie together the story. I think that it's something that we have a little bit of something for everyone. So it gives us the opportunity to kind of explore that. And books bring us together means that we're bringing individuals literally to the same building to have these conversations, to ask their questions of their authors, to go to the signing lines and actually get to meet one of their heroes. So yeah, I don't see it disappearing anytime soon. And I think it's because it is so valuable, one, for individuals to have a culture of reading, but two, because it offers a little bit of something for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think 22 years is an incredibly long time, and it's been amazing. We got to interview John Cole recently, who is the historian of
Yes.
the Library of Congress, right? And he talked to us a lot about how the National Book Festival was started, which was so much before 2001 when it actually began. There was a lot getting put into place, but also about the years that he was here at the library and just him watching the festival unfold to what it is today and the outrageous numbers of people showing up. Can you talk to me about, from your experience as director, what the public perception has been like of the National Book Festival? How has it shifted and changed and influenced the public?
I'll say that when it first got started, it was a small event, the east lawn of the Capitol, and then it grew and it grew, and then it took over the National Mall, and then in recent history, we've been in the convention center. The fact that it's free and open to the public is a really wonderful thing. It's this events of this nature, could be charging a significant amount of money, but through the generosity of our donors and our sponsors, we've still been able to offer this as a free and open event to the public, and they get to experience these amazing author talks and, activities and, literary figures, and it doesn't cost a thing.
I want to shift again just a little bit, and just talk a little bit more about you and what you like to read. Is there a book that you read during maybe a pivotal moment in your life that has stuck with you, or just a book that you always go back to?
Oh, I remember the first. It sticks out pretty strongly because I was young when I was a teenager, and reading, or a young teenager, I guess. And I read The Hobbit, and I just remember the world opening up to me, and kind of how like a book like that could create such a fantastical world for me to understand. And yeah, I would say that it was probably The Hobbit. And then of course I had to read The Lord of the Rings, and then I got completely sucked into fantasies and fun reading. It was an awakening for me in the sense that it's just a super comprehensive, amazing world that was created. And as a young person reading like that was something pivotal for me, that kind of opened up into just hundreds of other books, and different exciting dorkisms, if you will.
Yeah. There is something really special about being able to pinpoint the book that really opened your eyes to fiction and literature, and being able to say, I read this and I was a goner, that was it for me. I was going to be a reader. And having that moment, I think is incredibly special, and that you're able to choose, it was The Hobbit for me.
Yep.
I don't know if I'd be able to do that, honestly. Yeah, I actually have Tolkien on my shelf right now, Lord of the Rings.
That's awesome.
Right there. Just, I haven't read it. I know. I feel like I shouldn't be admitting that on this video series.
Yeah.
But I have a bet with one of my friends that I'll read all of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit if he'll read all of Harry Potter, because he hasn't. So we have it going back and forth. Really strong friendship there with that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But do you have any books that you always you recommend to people to read? You said The Hobbit, right? That's just a big one in your life. But was there anything else that you just when someone's I don't know what to read, do you just say, this one, you should read that one?
So I have, I wouldn't say that there was one, but I always have a habit of giving books away, but not as gifts, in the sense of, oh, hold on a second, and then you reach on your bookshelf and you're like, here, you got to read this, and then handing that story to someone, and then it lives on through them, and they get to keep it, and you're like, I have no expectation of that book being returned to me. Yeah. But I know that I wouldn't hand someone a book if I didn't enjoy reading it. So my book collection itself has suffered pretty drastically over the years, because I'm always referring books that I've read. So I just hand it to them and say, you got to read this. And, so I think that experience for me is more important than any one book that I recommend, because, I think that even though it's nice to have a collection and to have, this, I'm like, I want someone else to experience it. And if I can remove any barriers by, don't go, Amazon and buy it. Don't worry about going to your local bookstore. Don't, here, I'm handing you an experience. Take it and go enjoy.
Yeah, that's one of those things I think I also love about book lovers. Even if some of us are more protective of our books, we're always willing to be like, you have to go find this, or yes. You can borrow it. And just having that extra little thing that brings us together. We keep coming back to it, but it connects us all, right? So my final question for you today is, what does it mean to you when you hear books bring us together?
To be honest, it's family. It's, family, it's friends. It's books do bring us together in the sense of I told you my Hobbit story and how it was pivotal for me, but I know that my young sister had the same experience as I did when she first read The Hobbit. And I think that, even though reading can be seen as a solitude, or as a solitary activity, to where you're reading, it's just you. To be able to have discussions, or even you and I doing this right now,
Yeah.
like, I think that reading is so important in the books that we choose to invest our time in. Like, at this point, in my life, and reading is a commitment. And I think that, when you invest your time into reading a book, it's, it shows value. So if I invest myself into a book and read it, but then I refer it to someone else, I'm like, that is a huge weight of power there, because I spent 100 hours reading this book, and then I'm offering it to someone else. It's more so because I want to have that dialogue. I want us to come back. I give every one of my friends or family that book from my bookcase, and I have no expectation of it coming back to me, but I do want to hear about it. I want to hear that you enjoyed it, or you hated it, or there were parts that you just thought were magical and perfect, and others that you're like, I can't believe that happened. I'm giving that book with the expectation of us coming back together to converse and to enjoy each other's company again, because that's what I really think it is when we say books bring us together.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's beautiful. There's something to be said about the life that books live through us, and we live through them, and getting to share that with each other is, I think, just beautiful and amazing. And so that was all I had for you, Jarrod. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
My pleasure.
Yes,
and thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. It is T-minus 30 something days to the National Book Festival, which is on September 3rd. It will be at the Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C., or Walter Convention Center in Washington, D.C., and also online. So we have virtual options as well. So please come and see us or check us out, and we would be excited to see you there.